Robert Kiyosaki just issued his most urgent Bitcoin warning yet, and he's drawing direct parallels to a financial shift that happened exactly 50 years ago in 1974 that made the rich exponentially richer while everyone else got crushed. And if you don't understand what's happening right now, you're about to miss the biggest wealth transfer in human history. The Rich Dad Poor Dad author isn't just recommending Bitcoin anymore, he's practically screaming at people to buy it, along with gold and silver. And when you see the data I'm about to show you, you'll understand why he's so urgent about this. We're going to break down exactly what happened in 1974, why it's happening again right now, and most importantly, what you need to do with your money before it's too late. So in August 1971, President Nixon took the US dollar off the gold standard. But the real devastation didn't hit until 1974 when inflation absolutely exploded. Gold went from $35 an ounce to over $850 by 1980. That's a 2,400% increase. But here's what most people don't know: the people who understood what was happening got incredibly wealthy, while everyone else saw their savings get absolutely destroyed by inflation. Kiyosaki has been saying for months that we're in the exact same situation right now. The Federal Reserve has printed more money in the last 4 years than in the previous 200 years combined. We're talking about over $6 trillion created out of thin air. And just like in 1974, most people have no idea what's coming. Last week, Kiyosaki posted on social media saying, and I quote, "1974 is happening again. Gold, silver, and Bitcoin are the only real money. Everything else is fake." This isn't some casual investment advice, this is a man who's been studying money and economics for over 50 years telling you that the financial system is about to fundamentally change. But here's where it gets really interesting. Bitcoin didn't exist in 1974. Gold and silver were the only alternatives to protect yourself from currency debasement. Now we have Bitcoin, which Kiyosaki calls digital gold and argues is actually superior because it's not controlled by any government and has a fixed supply of 21 million coins. If you're finding this valuable, smash the like button, it helps more people see this crucial information before it's too late. Now let's look at the numbers that should terrify every investor. The US national debt is now over $33 trillion and growing by $1 trillion every 100 days. To put that in perspective, if you spent $1 million every single day since the birth of Christ, you still wouldn't have spent $1 trillion. And we're adding that much debt every 100 days. Meanwhile, real inflation, not the manipulated CPI numbers the government gives you, is running at over 10% according to ShadowStats, which uses the original 1980s calculation method. Your purchasing power is getting crushed every single month you hold dollars. But here's what's different from 1974. Back then, you had to physically store gold and silver. You needed a safe, you worried about theft, and it was expensive to buy and sell. Bitcoin solves all of these problems. You can store millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin on a simple crypto wallet, it's infinitely divisible, and you can send it anywhere in the world in minutes. Major institutions are catching on fast. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF now holds over 500,000 Bitcoin worth more than $30 billion. MicroStrategy has over 190,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Even countries like El Salvador are stacking Bitcoin as a reserve asset. The smart money isn't debating whether Bitcoin is legitimate anymore, they're racing to accumulate as much as possible before the masses figure it out. Fun fact, 80% of you watching aren't subscribed. If you want to stay ahead of the market while others are still figuring out what money actually is, fix that now. So what does this mean for your portfolio? Kiyosaki recommends a specific allocation that might shock you. He suggests holding zero traditional assets like stocks and bonds if you're young, and instead focusing entirely on Bitcoin, gold, silver, and real estate. His reasoning is simple: all traditional assets are priced in dollars, and when the dollar collapses, everything priced in dollars collapses with it. For Bitcoin specifically, he's been saying people should buy as much as they can afford to lose and hold for at least 10 years. He believes Bitcoin could reach $1 million per coin by 2030 based on simple supply and demand mathematics. With only 21 million Bitcoin ever to exist and billions of people who could potentially want to own some, the math is pretty straightforward. But timing matters enormously. In 1974, the people who bought gold early made fortunes. The people who waited until gold was already at $400 or $500 an ounce still made money, but nowhere near as much. Right now, Bitcoin is trading around $43,000, which Kiyosaki argues is still incredibly early in this cycle. The key is understanding that this isn't about getting rich quick. This is about preserving and protecting your wealth while the monetary system undergoes a fundamental transformation. If Kiyosaki is right and his track record suggests you should listen, holding dollars or dollar-denominated assets over the next decade could be financial suicide. So here's exactly what you need to do right now. First, educate yourself about Bitcoin. Don't just buy it because some guy on YouTube told you to. Understand what it is, how it works, and why it exists. Second, if you decide Bitcoin makes sense for your situation, start with a small amount you can afford to lose completely. You can buy Bitcoin on platforms like Coinbase, which makes it simple for beginners. Third, learn about proper storage. While keeping Bitcoin on Coinbase is fine for small amounts, if you're holding significant value, you want to use a hardware wallet for maximum security. The goal is to own your Bitcoin, not just have an IOU from an exchange. Fourth, consider dollar cost averaging. Instead of buying a large amount all at once, buy a fixed dollar amount every week or month regardless of price. This smooths out volatility and removes the pressure of trying to time the market perfectly. Most importantly, have a long-term mindset. Bitcoin is volatile short-term but has been the best performing asset of the last decade when viewed over multiple years. If you're constantly checking the price and panicking over daily movements, you'll probably sell at the worst possible time. Kiyosaki's message is clear: the 1974 playbook is happening again, but this time we have Bitcoin as an additional escape hatch from the collapsing monetary system. The question isn't whether this financial reset will happen, it's whether you'll position yourself to benefit from it or become another casualty. The wealthy understand that currencies come and go, but assets that hold their value across centuries survive every monetary crisis. Gold has done this for 5,000 years. Bitcoin might be the digital version for the next century. Drop your prediction in the comments. Do you think Kiyosaki is right that we're repeating 1974? I read every single comment and I'm curious what you think happens next. Check out this next video where I break down exactly how much Bitcoin you need to become financially free, and why that number might be smaller than you think.